Welcome to LeetCode Coding 150 Days. I figured out that I would rather be live streaming the solutions. And to be honest, I'm a bit nervous. I'm not sure what will happen if I cannot solve it. Probably we will try to find some hints, and maybe in the worst case, I may be looking up the solutions. But anyway, I think this format of the video or the interview coding session will be much more efficient, because this is what will happen in the real interview. And that's why I ask you to code with me, and we will divide the session into like 3 to 4 parts, and I will mute myself and hide the screen for you to code your solution, come up with the logic, so that it will be more interesting for all of us. Let's get started. So today's top question is 380. Insert delete get random with big O1. Okay, implement the randomized set class. Randomized set initialize the randomized set object. Okay, and Boolean inserts the item value into the set if not present, returns true if the item was not present, false otherwise. Boolean remove removes the item value from the set if present, returns true if the item was present, false otherwise. Int get random returns the random element from the current set of elements. It's guaranteed that at least one element exists when this method is called. Each element must have the same probability of being returned. You must implement the functions of the class such that each function works in average constant time complexity. Okay, so we have a class and it has an object. Inside the object we should insert, remove and get random with time complexity, constant time complexity. If you remember, in our last videos, I was explaining that if you want to get the good time complexity, you have to compromise the space complexity most of the time. So here the knowledge of data structures comes for help. If you do not know data structures very much, LeetCode will be very difficult. That's why I would advise learning data structures or enrolling to some course about data structures and algorithms, and keeping your LeetCode doing the LeetCode at the same time. I have just got started front-end master's algorithm and data structures course. I will provide the link if you would like. Okay, and look at here, it says in average of big O of 1, so it may be more than big O of 1, but in average it should be this. Okay, do we have any constraints? Constraints value will be within this range. Okay, and there are lots of calls. At least one, and there will be at least one element in the data structure where get random is called. Okay. And if we look at the code snippet they have provided for us, we have the initializing function and remove, get random, insert, remove and get random. Okay, looks good. So the data structure I would like to use for this one is the dictionary in Python or objects in JavaScript. But before, let's clarify the input and output cases. So our input is two lists. Actually, it's when we are modifying, it's a class, so yeah. For input, we will have this inputs type, some action, and the, for example, insert 1, remove 2, insert 2, and so on. Output should be null, true, true, false, false, true. Okay. Okay. Seems like this. The data structure I'll be using is a dictionary because inserting into dictionary gives 1, a big O of 1, and checking whether item exists, value exists in dictionary is also big O of 1. Maybe searching I can say this, right? Search is big O of 1 in here. Exists or not, deleting. If I'm not wrong, it's also big O of 1. And what do we need? One thing we need is getting random. Okay, how do we get a random? So let's think about it. Let's say we have an empty dictionary from this input case. It says run. We are initializing it. We are inserting 1. We can insert it like 1 equals to true. 1 equals to true, and it says like remove 2, there is no 2, search, we search 2, there is no 2, we return false, that's big O of 1, we insert 2, and here we can say 2 is true, it's inside it, and then it's calling get random. At this point, how do we call get random? One way, what I'm thinking about is like maybe accessing the keys of the dictionary. It's like dictionary.keys should give us the, we are using JavaScript, like in JavaScript should give us the 1 and 2, the list of keys we have in the dictionary, and we, dictionary keys, it takes much time. I think it takes much time because it goes through, I believe it goes through everything and takes keys. Let me actually do a Google search. Dictionary.keys, time complexity. Oh, in Python it's big O of 1, so it seems like it is big O of 1 in JavaScript as well. Object keys. Not this one. Actually, let's look at this. ON. Python 2 ON. Python 3 O1. But it doesn't return a list. ON time build dictionary keys. In JavaScript. Why does it give? Oh, because I'm telling dictionary keys. Is that so? Object.keys. Yeah, dictionary is actually a Python keyboard. Yeah, most like time complexity. It is big O of n. This is the problematic part. Because if it takes big O of n, meaning that our random function that's full of anything else we add here will take more than big of n, or at least big of n. It cannot be constant. How can we make it constant? It seems like we need some additional data structure or something else. Is there any hints? No. Is there any suggestions from the viewers? It is like we need to have a list of keys that we currently have, because why I wanted to get this is because I want to have the keys, possible values I can get from the dictionary, and I wanted to do something like get random between the indexes and access that key and get it from the dictionary. Let's actually keep calling it objects, right? I've been learning Python and I'm messing up. Object, yeah. We have this object. But how can we keep count of the keys? What happens if we keep... Okay, what happens if we keep... Okay, let's think about it. Getting random requires us to know which keys are present. This is a problematic part. We should know which keys are present at any given moment. Maybe we need another data structure. One thing I can think of is we should get this object to be structured in a way that first key is the first key we add, value, let's say value 1, and second key we add will be value 2, and third one will be, for example, value 3. Okay. And at the same time, we will need another object. I hope I'm not making it very difficult. Value 1 pointing to the reverse object, maybe pointing to the index. Value 1 is at index 1, value 2 is at index 2, or something like that. Value 2, for example, is at index 2. We will have these two objects. First one for getting random easily, second one for adding, deleting, and so on. And we will need a count of the elements. Starting with 0, every time we add, we increment the count, but let's think about it. And now, how do we do the insert function? For that, firstly, for inserting, we are checking whether it already exists. We can say, how can we check it already exists? This one is for exists, check for existing. object. Let's say this one is object, this one is reverse object. I just want to say like here value and key value pairs are reversed in our second object. Okay, for insertion, we need to check if value exists. And how do we do that? For that, we can check if value in object is enough, because it is yeah, there is no way to check it anyway. Okay, we can check it this way. We can only check this object, the first object, and if value exists, the second step. This is the first step we do when we are inserting, and the second step we need to do is to insert if it does not exist. Actually, if it exists, we return. If it does not, let me also add this. This is also second step. This is actually third step. We move on. Return false if it does not exist. Okay, and insert if it exists. How do we insert? For insertion, we say object value equals to. With the count, we need how? Okay, maybe possible empty slots. Actually, let me think. Isn't it like when we are adding, we will add new count. It will be like count plus 1. The count should actually start at 0, and then 1, and then 2. And here we have 0 and 1. And for while 3, let me make it complete, like while value 3, it will be 2. And so when we have 0, we say like we have 0 count and no values, nothing here. So it should actually be object value count, and we increment the count. And we also should add to the next object reverse object, and here we say count, the reverse of everything, like equals to val. And then we increment the count. It will be 1 after first addition, first incrementing, like, and then when the next value comes, we add it at 1, and then we increment again. This should work. Okay, and the next one, remove. How do we remove? For removing, we have also the same step. Check if the value exists in object, and also the second step, but it's a bit different this time. We return false if it does not exist. Yeah, actually, remove. Return false. Oh, I made it different. If it exists, we return false for insertion. We insert if it does not exist. And for this one, return false if there is nothing like that, but still remove if it is there. How do we remove? Insert if, remove if exists. How do we do that? For removing, we need to remove it from 2 places and also decrement the count. Think about this. It is asking us to remove the value 1. For that, we should remove it from the object and from the reverse object. And what I also think is like we need to move the value 3 to the first object, because there will be like 2 objects. I don't want to leave some spots empty, like this, and if my count is 1, and if I try to get, because there is 1 item, if I try to get a random number, it can only give me this, but this is empty. This does not even exist, 0. So what I will suggest is when I remove value 1, I will actually replace it with value 3 and remove the last added index, last added count, and decrement my count, and that should solve problems with some numbers not appearing in the middle of the array. And my count will always be reliable, because it will, it should be better that way. So what did we do? We removed from the object, delete object val, but before we should get the count. Is it like count or spot? Is object val, and we get the spot. By spot I mean the number we are giving it. In the reverse object we come to the reverse object, and we can just okay, and here we should get last item. Also for updating last item, we should also update it in here. Okay, let's firstly get the last item. We get it by reverse object count -1, because we incremented count after adding, so count -1 should give the last added item. And once we have this value 3, we should again change our object here. Okay. The spot should be given to the last item. Is that correct numbering? The spot count spot. Okay, spot. Value 1, we want to delete it. It has a spot of 0 index, and we tell our last item should now have this 0 index. Update its index. We deleted this object entirely, and we want to update the object last item to be actually the spot we just deleted. I hope it makes sense. I just want to come here and say this one should be 0, this should be removed. And after that I have spot was actually 0, and last item is actually value 3, the last added item. And in the reverse object I should look at the spot and add the new last item here. This is just the reverse of it. Let's take this, and this is the reverse object. The spot, it should be last item. And we should remove the last spot, this one, from reverse object. How do we do it? We say delete reverse object count -1, because it will always be count -1. So it takes this value, places it here, deletes it entirely, and at this stage we should also decrease our count -1 officially, right? Decrease our count, and that should be the end of removing. Okay, we did lots of twisting, checking, changing values, but it will still be constant, because it's like we are doing 2 actions here, swapping here, and some checking and so on, but it will always remain under 10. right? No matter what the number of actions we get, we will always do the same steps. We check, we swap, we check, we swap, and yeah, that should be constant. For not for is actually insert, remove, and our get random. We did everything to make it of 1. I hope it works. First thing, okay, get random. We don't have to check for empty because here it says we will always ask get random, and there will at least be one item. So, but as long as we have this count, we can just check for this case. We can say if count is less than or like if count is 0, return false. This case will never run. Okay, get random returns integer, but for the sake of it, like if you get another question, you can just check it. But now, yeah, this one is actually not needed. The second step, what we will do is, if there is a number, we should get a random index. Whole purpose of this object was to have, for example, when there are these items, the count will be 2, and whole purpose of it was to get numbers between 0 and 1, random number. For that, we have a function in JavaScript. It's mass.random, and we will multiply it by the number of items by the max number, starting from 0. Maximum number is 1, which is count minus 1. So it is count minus 1 and mass.floor to get an integer. Mass.floor. So this one should give us get a random integer between 0 and count minus 1. That's what we want, and this is the code. I feel like I already started coding. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. So this gives us the random integer between 0 and count minus 1. Then we do what? We just give it. We don't update or delete, right? Current elements, each element must have, just give it. So we will just return object, not object, return reverse object, because the reverse object understands us if we give us the numbers between count. This one doesn't. So we just give it this random number, and that should solve this problem. Okay, we already spent half an hour. Maybe it's only me spending half an hour, but it is interesting. Okay, now it's time to code it. You can pause the video here, and otherwise I'll just go on and code because it's impossible for me to pause. Let me write my pseudocode like everything we did. I will try to write it in a shorter format. First one, have 2 objects for storing data. Why should I have 2 objects for storing data? I feel like I'm not writing the good commands. I don't feel like I'm doing it right. Then let me just get everything and copy paste. Insert. This is what insert should be doing. Where is my insert function? Here it is. Insert. Follow this and you'll be fine. Remove. It is a long function. Remove and follow this. You should also be fine. I feel like, what if we use ChatGPT for this, huh? Gives my so-called so-called pseudocode and ask it to write the code. I should definitely try that. Okay, let's start by initializing values. So we have this random set. We say this dot, as I promised, I will call it an object. It is an empty object, and we have this dot reverse object. Indexed object, we can actually call it indexed object because it has these indexes starting from 0 to 1. Index. Let's call it index. Naming the variables, it has never been easy. This dot count, we will have this count, which will start at 0. Okay, and that is it. That should be it. What we can also do is we can have separate method for checking if value exists or not, which will return true or false. Yeah, actually, let's do that first. We can have a separate method for has, or has, yeah, has makes sense. Contains, let's just say has. It just does what? Check, search, something like search, check if exists. It will be given a value. It will return boolean, true or false. It will say if value in this dot object, can I say just return value in this dot object? This one should give me true or false. Yeah, actually it should work. If it doesn't, we will know when we run the code. Let's check. Okay, this first one, check if value exists. It is easy. We will say this dot has and pass the value. We say if it has the value, we just return false. Let me write it on a separate line. Return false. If it has, return false. We cannot add, it already exists. Return false, otherwise not present. Okay, else. If it does not exist, I actually did this. And for 3, we have these actions. Else, we wanna do lots of things, such as we wanna say this dot object should have a new value, which will be literally the value given to us, and the count will be the current count, this dot count, this dot count, and the reverse object. For reverse object, we also want to add it to reverse object, just the reverse of it, this dot count, create a new one for this dot count and assign it to value. And also please increment our count plus equals 1. This should work. Reverse object, we don't have reverse object, we have this dot index object now. Yes, it should work fine, hopefully. Okay, and next one, we can just take this statement and put it here. If it has that value, just return false. It has. No, if it does not have, giving this should, if it's true, it should be false. Like, yeah. If this, this dot has, this what? This object. If this object, meaning this object right here, if it has value, return false. And for removing, if it does not have this value, return false. Yeah, else, let me code. Else. Remove if exists. So what we are doing, we want to get let me just call it spot as we did object.value. Give us the current spot it has in the index. Oh, index object. Yeah, correct naming makes more sense. So the index of the value, we're getting it, and we also want to get last added item. I want to call it with long name. It's in the index object with count -1, the last one added. And next we get the last added, we get the index, and now we start swapping them. The first thing is we delete object value, which we already stored it to the temporary value, and also we say object last item should now point to new index, which was the index of the deleted object. Okay, and deleted object, and we did this is index right now, and then we also update our reverse object, which is our index object currently being called index object. We say index object, the index should now be last item. Yeah, literally. And now deleting like delete index object last index count -1, and also increment the count this dot count -=1. This one is also this dot count. I should reference them all with this, meaning that this is the object and like count coming from here. So I should not forget doing this, and we have this, and we should have this here, and this here. Yeah, otherwise it will throw an error, not knowing what we are talking about. I hope everything is fixed now. Okay. Swap deleted item with last item. This is what I am doing. And actually last item. It makes more sense to call it last item. Last item index as last item, and yeah, okay. Next one, get random. We don't have to check for exists or not, whether it exists or not. We can skip that part. Let me remove this long list of comments. Delete, swap this. Yeah. Next one, get random. We do not do this part. Get a random integer between. The first thing we say, let random index is mass dot floor mass dot random count -1. This is this dot count -1 and mass dot floor. Yeah, This is not random, this is random index. Okay. Next thing, we got the random index. We call it get random number idx that exists in index object. Okay, and just return this dot index object random index. That should work. I feel like that's it for the coding part. So we have some time left. Let's just try run the first input. Let's try to find any errors if there are. So yeah, at the first time we are initializing, we have both objects are empty. Let me just write here for reference, they are empty. And our count is, of course, starting at 0. Next, we add 1. We add 1. Where is this? Yeah, we insert 1. For this one, it checks if this object has value. For we want to check dot has return value in. Let's just do this instead of having a new function. I now feel like it's just one word anyway. Okay, for insert, if value in the object return false. It's not. For 2 it's not. Object is empty. Yeah. And now we add for inserting, we are telling this object.value, this.count, meaning that object.value, that value we are adding 2, and the count is 0. This.count, yes. And we say, in the index object, we say 0 should point to value given to us, which is 2. And we also increment our count, telling that we now have 1 item. Makes sense, works fine. And should I also return true? Yeah, at the end also return true, because it was successful. Next, we want to remove 2. We check here, we want to remove 2. Is 2 in this object? Oh, I made a mistake. Like here we added 1, not 2. Yeah, insertion was 1 for 1 and removing for 2. It wants to remove 2, but 2 is not here. There is only 1, and it returns like it. Is it in the object? Yes. If value in this object. Oh, I see, the logic is wrong again. If value is not, what's happening? Oh my gosh, yeah, that's actually correct. Value in this object, this returns false to us, its reverse is true. This is working fine. It was just me confusing you. Else, so we don't check else, we just return false, and that's it. Let me also return true here. And next time we insert 2. For 2 we check it's not in the dictionary. So we go to the else statement, we add it, we say now there is 2 pointing to 1, and for our index array we say 1 at index, like yeah, there is at the index 1 we have the value 2. We increment our count, it will be 2, telling that there are 2 items actually. And then next one, it's get random. at this stage we want to get random. We have this array, and if we come here, random index mass.for mass random this.count -1 should give us values between 0 and 1. It's either 0 or 1. And for either 0 and 1, we get our index object and give either the value at 0 or 1. That should work fine. And next, it's asking us to remove 1. At this stage, for removal, let's check. Remove. Is it in the object? True. So as this statement returns false, negative of it is false, we skip if and start else statement. In the else, it's asking us to get the index, current index of the value in the object, like object value, which is 0. Well, this one is 0, and the number we are removing is 1. To remove, we are removing 1. And the last item that was added is, we get it by index, and this is 2. Index count -1, yeah, gives us 2. And we delete this .object.value, meaning that we are deleting it from the object. The first object we have, we deleted it like this, and then we want to swap. We say last item index object, the last item, which is 2, that now 2 should point to the index of the deleted item, which is 0. We are telling now 2 should point to 0. And next we just said it should point to 0. That worked. This one we did, and the next one we check index object. Index object. Let me make it clear. Index object. The index is 0. Should point to last item is 2. 0 should now point to 2. We say 2. Yeah, we have this object right now, and we delete the key index objects. The key is count -1. Our current count was 2. It's 1. So delete anything at 1. We just delete this part. And we decrement our count, which will be 1, and we return true. Seems like it works. Let's run it. Oh yes, it passed. I am very nervous to run it, to submit. Anyway, let's do it. I was expecting something better. Okay. It asks us randomize set. Initialize the set, remove. It's returning false, correct, so far, and insert 0. Okay, they insert 0. It says get random. We get random 0. That's expected. Yeah, matching so far. Okay, remove 0. It removed 0, and now insert 0 should return true. There is something wrong happening when I remove. I'm swapping. I'm doing lots of swapping here. Okay, what will happen if there is only one element and we want to remove it? That's the case, like we have value 2, and we want to remove it. Let's see what will happen. What we are doing. We are getting the index, which is 2. We are getting the last item, which is 2. It seems like we are deleting and putting it back. Right here. Okay, what we can do is have a condition if count is 1, meaning that there is only one item when this is asking us to delete, and this item is inside the object, we can just say delete this dot object and that value, and also delete this dot index object, and this will be at index 0. Or we can just say this dot count -1, but it doesn't make sense. There is only one, and that index will always be 0, and we just return true. Let's use a test case and run it. For this edge case, it didn't work. Oh yeah, this is actually this dot count. I start getting hopeless when my code fails. Second submission, inshallah it will pass. It didn't. Okay, we are at test case 14. What is the problem? Undefined, -1, -1, -1. How is it getting -1? Get random. Oh, get random. Should it return? That's not fair. Insert 1, 0, remove 0, insert -1, remove 0. There is -1. We are inserting 0, removing 0, empty, and inserting -1 and removing 0. Get random should give us -1, isn't it? I cannot understand why is it giving us undefined. Oh, this is my output. My output is undefined. Okay. Yeah, I see the problem. It seems like we cannot initialize. Aha. -1 is the value. Let me copy the test case, and for get random, console.log this dot object and this dot index object. There is something wrong going on when inserting negative values. Yeah, I don't know how to write console right. For this test case. Oh yeah, the problem is when I deleted right here, I didn't increment count minus. That was a problem. And it thinks like its next value is being initialized at 1. Okay, if it does not get submitted, we will just check the submissions. Yeah, it didn't. It's true. At this stage, I have no idea how can I fix this. Okay, let's get to the submissions. We get random. I wanna check JavaScript. Easy to understand. Yeah, I want to have one that's easy to understand. Get random. Yeah, get random. How about get random? Yes, splice to remove. Okay, okay, this is much. Oh, this makes sense. They are using list. I should have used list. Index object is actually a list. Yeah. Just because we are just storing it with indexes, and swapping with the last value is much easier. Okay, for insertion, if it has value, return false. Yeah, that's what we are doing. If it does not, add it. It's also using a new function for set. Then we push it to our list, we add it to our map, we push it to our list, and we return true. That's what we did. We added it to our two objects, and when removing, we get the ID, we get the swap. Oh, there is also another method for swapping. Makes sense. Much easier than mine. And remove the last, swap with the last, remove the last, and for this map, just update the indexes and return true. For random, just get that random and get it from random index from the list, return it. Yeah, but I'm actually happy because what we did is very close. Maybe with some clean coding and some improvements, I could have solved it. But the ideation is very close. That's good. Okay, JavaScript map, hash map list. I feel like everyone is using hash map plus list for it. Empty array. Yeah, for remove, they swap with the last added one. How to remove an element, we did it. Yeah, I believe we can end the video here, and I will try to debug my code again and submit solution. I hope you could solve it much better than me, and see you on the next one. You can check my Google Calendar for upcoming videos, live coding sessions. I am planning to make this coding 150 questions live every day. Okay, see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And yeah, support me because I hope I will keep going on even if I'm not the best one on solving LeetCode.